So how many of you are ready to replace your roof on your house today if needed? How many of you are pre-funded to fully purchase a new car with cash today if needed? Well, that's a pre-purchasing account or a large purchase funding account. You can call it a number of different things. Some people call it a sinking fund. This is where you sink funds into it to prepay for something. But what we know is that most people are not prepared for big expenses that come out of nowhere. Doesn't matter how much you make, doesn't matter how much you have in retirement. A lot of people just aren't prepared to write a check out of their bank account for $10, $20, $30,000. And this could be for a small, we call it the large purchase account, and it is for large purchases, but depending on your income, depending on your financial state, a large purchase could be $1,500, it could be $15,000, it could be $150,000. And so the pre-funding account or the large purchase account, that bucket that we talk about is often for something that's a few years out, could be 2, 3, 4, 5, could be 10 or 15 years out. For instance, if you do own a house, eventually you're probably gonna have to replace the roof. You know, does the roof last 12 years? Does it last 15 years or 20 years? Well, you're gonna need to know that and know when it got installed, because at that point, you're going to have to replace that. So if it's $15,000 and you have 10 years to save, you're gonna wanna put aside about $1,500 a year, right? It's pretty simple math, but it's not always as easily executed or as often executed as it should be. If you have a $30,000 car that you're gonna need to buy 7 years from now, 8 years from now, 9 years from now, you need to start saving for that. Put the several $100s a month aside that you need to be prepared to buy that large purchase. Additionally, you know, in some other videos, we've talked about high yield savings accounts. Well, you're not gonna wanna put all this money just in your safe, in pure cash. You're not necessarily gonna wanna keep it in a local brick and mortar bank that's not paying you any interest either. Today, when I record this in June of 2023, high yield savings accounts online, for instance, like ally.com, marcus.com, sofi.com, wealthfront.com, those are all examples of some high yield savings accounts that currently are paying over 4% in cash that's risk-free, FDIC insured. And on top of that, there's some CDs that are paying 5%. And so you can take these large purchase dollars that you're putting aside on a monthly basis, and you can save it up so that even though you plan for a $15,000 roof 10 years from now, you might have $18 or $20 or $22,000 in there by the time you get to that 10 years from now. And so you have even more saved up in an emergency fund. So long story short, the large purchase account is for these planned, whether you want to do them or not, these planned expenses that you know are coming down the pipe. On top of that, you don't want to just have to dive into your emergency fund when this is not an emergency. It's something that you could have planned for. And you don't want to put it on the credit card because interest rates are going up and you're going to be paying 20, 25, maybe 30% on a credit card balance that's carried over. So that's a large purchase fund. That's what that bucket is. And I hope this was helpful, and we got more topics to come.